And we're back here for our European Qualifier Game 4 Winners Bracket Grand Final, actually. Best of 5 between Power Rangers and No Diggity, where No Diggity have a 2-1 advantage over PR at the moment. We are in a whole new ball game after Power Rangers have managed to get their interest, their whatever their, I don't know, mojo working after one good fight in that last game. Can they carry it through into the next game? That's the question my co-caster can answer. He's not Austin Powers, but he definitely knows how to read the mojo. It's my co-caster, Swindles from Complexity.
Thanks, buddy. Alright, I'm not going to comment on your zinger there to just say PR chose Dire. Diggity chose second pick, and they're going to use the same opener. Actually, all of the openers, including the bands, are the same. And one thing I want to touch on is just the dynamic between first and second pick. Traditionally, people pick first, but as I've kind of watched a ton of and played a ton of this patch, I think that the big difference is that second pick, you tone the draft. PR, they get the first pick. After that, the second pick will always have their hero selected earlier. And they go Oracle this time instead of Avenge. I agree with that a lot. I think that's a good move. But pretty much if you're second pick, you're the one that should have a game plan. And you draft to your style and to your plan. Whereas first you take the OD, and then you see what the other team picks. The Oracle's a response. First pick actually ends up being in the responsive role, the reactive role, way more than actually defining how the draft will play out. And I think Diggity would prefer to just execute a game plan versus be confused by what the other team is going to take. But really interesting to note, PR chose Dire, even though they've been taking Radiant from Diggity at all times instead of selecting first or second pick. Really interesting. I'm not sure why they did that, but maybe just try to throw them off. But Diggity taking second pick, so obviously what we're comfortable with. They're going to ban clicks again. I agree with that. And they banned that in all the previous games as well.
Check out the Miranda as well. That was another hero who was actually having a decent influence.
It was really just the one kill on Cinder in middle, to be honest. Later on in the game, he was certainly effective, but I would be happy with that game in my Chen versus Miranda. They're going to take out Drow. I agree with that pick. It's actually super good against Oracle and OD because you click them to death, and they already lost in this draft once with the Drow, so I agree, and just that you don't want to lose against the same thing.
Maybe it'll also make it lethal to go for both of them. Oracle. They have some level of synergy, but do you have enough where you can zone out the Batrider? The Oracle's got a lot of nuke power, and actually they take out the Enchantress, so they don't have that battle to deal.
Vengeful spirit.
There's the VS.
We'll see.
So, time for Synderen. Get a counter against the Batrider. The Mirana will be the pickup by Power Rangers. They will still feel comfortable with that hero. Comboing with the OD. They're okay with this. Just how No Diggity now want to approach us. They pick up both their supports. We're missing mid. And we're missing Era's hero. That's the last two left to tick off. So who do you want up against the OD? Oh, wait, hang on. So, okay, we're going to actually have a Koi for Batrider, and they're going to go for the Vision battle here with Keizu's Night Stalker.
Same sort of style. We'll have a last pick. I think in this game, Slark's actually looking pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if Diggity runs that hero here. I think nice. They're going to suffer from the same issue, although this time they will have the massive vision damage of the Night Stalker bat if the game gets to that point. If I'm PR, I'm thinking about how do I this Chen, and how do I ensure that we don't get screwed by Night Stalker Ags. The same situation as the previous games, where PR kind of just needs to hang on, and Diggity's lineup will eventually fall off just because of the sheer damage output that they'll be behind in. If that makes sense. I feel like I phrased that totally wrong.
It makes sense. I actually understood that more than I did the first time you explained the Enchantress Chen thing.
Oh, yeah. It's funny, it happened once, though. I don't know if it made anything matter, but, they,
it could have caught it by surprise,
lost his Ursa. Yeah. Edge lost his Ursa, and then the Ursa got a last hit. I like that pick. That's exactly what you want here. Tide's one of those awesome counters to Batrider and Night Stalker in the sense that you can just take the lasso and you don't care. You cannot kill a Tide Hunter before he gets off his abilities. And obviously Ravage is the key one, so I like that a lot. It demonstrates they understand the situation they're in. They need to survive. They need to win one fight, and then at a point, suddenly their lineup just wins the game. Because Tidehunter, traditionally, if you look at like the way Dota's developed, and specifically the Chinese scene, who I feel like are like the godfathers of this all, Tide is like the go-to counter to both Venge and Bat, and you'll traditionally see that in response to either one of those, even in the first two. Spectre, I like the pick, and very good against Oracle, very good against OD. The only concern is, if you look at Diggity's lineup, what's their timing, Toby? What do they need to actually win a fight?
It's almost like you need to have the Spectre having like that early phase and earn, and then you just wait for the Batrider Blink Dagger, which has been coming in around like that 8-minute mark anyway. So it should be around the same time the Spectre should have her ultimate, and you should be in the second nighttime phase. So for me, I think that would be the timing for no Diggity. Second nighttime phase, get as many kills as you can, and establish control across the map.
I would agree. I think the big one, in addition to that, is what item build Spectre goes. I foresee a Radiance. Maybe goes something else, who knows?
Ooh,
but
did actually go the Radiance in this game?
Farmed. Just, I really like it against OD, just because the hero can't go MKB. It's also really good against supports like Oracle and Mirana. But it's, I mean, Diffusal isn't bad either, just because you can purge pretty much everything in the Oracles.
That's what I was thinking. Like, it's the early phase earn. Can you get Manta Diffusal?
I think that this, I mean, they don't have much time. Weaver, okay, that was banned a lot by Diggity in that last ban situation.
Yeah.
They're going to choose it here.
In the last phase of every game we've had so far that we've been taken out.
So they finally let it go through, banning the Sven, which, I mean, makes sense. You ban the hero you lost to, but they will give them, I guess, what they've been waiting for. I will say that I like this draft by Diggity a little more, just because they have more staying power. It's very different running this draft when you have a Spectre versus when you have a CK, and I like their draft for another reason, which is something you'll see in a lot of lineups nowadays, where they have a lot of global potential. They have a lot of heroes give you the ability to split push, gain a vision advantage, to attack globally through both the Chen Heal, the Spectre ulti, the Night Stalker OP vision, etc. So they're in a position where if they can get Spectre launched into the game and they have towers, they'll be in a good position. PR wins this, the Tide gets a little out of control, is allowed to do Ancients, gets to the point where he just has a mech, Greaves, Shivas, etc. And fight of PR is just ridiculous, and suddenly you just can't kill anything. Diggity needs to get a tower advantage, tempo control, and they need to launch the Spectre into the game, and then if they get to a point with the Ags, Bat, Blink, Spectre's got farm, it's really easy for them to split up PR, ensure that they stay together. But PR needs to make sure that they're taking fights as 5 close to their, to Diggity's objectives, not their own. So it's all going to just be about who controls the tempo of the game. They're the ones with the big...
Rise getting a little bit antsy about this when the smoke happens in this early phase. Primarily because Diggity, like, they've fallen down to it in the last 2 games. The first blood going to Power Rangers, early smoke maneuver, PR to get both runes. This time around, Yapsaw was running himself down the bottom lane. He quickly TP'd up, but he didn't plant down the Observer Ward. Which is what's making me question if it's actually more of like a DC and his hero just started running backwards by accident. And if he turns around now. So he's going to stay on the bottom lane. PR are probably going to do their same little play. It's down through this little slither, get past the tower, and Diggity just wait for the rune time. In fact, now Chen, well, yep. Now they react. Yapsaw will be the first blood. The only imprisonment will come. The Fortune's End will not really chain properly here. And what's Syndra even going to do? Yapsaw goes to tree line. He'll still end up dying. First blood is spilled here by J4. The difference is now PR will only get 1 rune. They won't actually get both.
Things have gotten a little better for Diggity's early game. At least they do lose the first blood again. I do like PR though. They switch up their smoke. It's a little more unexpected than all the previous ones from the days before where we saw them do this.
The second player now today where they've run past that tier 1 tower. Wait, are they actually...
The battle begins.
Diggity are backing out. They're giving him both runes again. The Observer on bottom lane saw the rotations, the PR were coming up to the top. But they didn't even try and contest it. And now Keizu's also a little bit too late. He won't be able to block that top lane. The mid block will work from Qualifier as he puts the range creep in front, but Rise will actually have his creep wave on his own high ground thanks to the fact that range creep is just so far ahead.
I will say one thing about the Weaver pick. Night Stalker is traditionally a really strong counter to it because you can silence him for such a long duration and before he can see you. With the Spectre as well, and a Bat even, like, they have a lot to lock him down. Thing they're really missing is burst. Do you see any burst damage on Diggity? Because I really don't, and that can be a big problem. Lincoln, sorry. Weaver gets to Lincoln's early, and just, like, if he got, like, a Deso and a Heart, I don't think you're ever killing Weaver if you're Team D, and it could be a problem. Mid lane, hey, a Satyr.
Well, there's your burst damage. Yeah, you just have 4 Satyrs. That's the way around it, right?
He's not even gonna get XP for these minions, he just can't. Insane.
That's why they're bringing
Satyr
J4
going, man.
over. He's gonna try an arrow creep down. The Radiant actually have, like, as far as wards go for Diggity, they planted 1 in that bottom rune area, so at least they'll be able to see any kind of rotation. They imprisoned to, oh, wow, wow, that committal. And now Rise, actually, because he used imprisonment, Kuiper's gonna pounce. There's already 3 sticky napalm charges, 1 more attack will do it from Kuiper. He's actually got not first blood, he's actually got a revenge kill. Because they hated on the Satyr so much. Wow.
Arise had a TP. Oh man. Maybe he didn't, I could be wrong actually.
That's just really annoying. Bottom lane as well, Cheshire Cat trying to make a play for the 2-minute rune. Yeah, so they bring extra help. They'll take the illusion rune. They're all trying to fit his Avel if they want to do some extra chip damage, which they're going to get the chance to. He's still got Kraken Shell level 1. He's got, like, armor. He's fine. Oh, good. Goddamn's having the free time in the world on this top. And this doesn't seem like a lane where K2's going to get a lot of CS, because Goddamn can just get really aggressive in the face of the Night Stalker.
He's just going to be jungling though. I mean, he started Iron Talon. Anything he's getting top is bonus. He's pretty much a jungle hero in this game.
Missed the arrow on mid, thanks to the illusion that was still there from the Chen. They imprisoned into an arrow, and the Chen illusion just basically tanked the arrow. I don't understand how Era's really meant to find a lot of CS on this bot lane. He's going up against a Tidehunter, which means he has to come in melee range all the time. Flanker Smash for Cheshire Cat's actually really effective. The only way is, like, Cinderin doing this kind of stuff. Pull the creep wave off to the side. But then Cheshire Cat can just walk over. He doesn't care. He's a Tidehunter, right? Pushing the lane? Maybe just forgot to turn the ring off. When the ball doesn't really work for him. What's coming to mid lane? Boots, something unusual for a Rise.
Oh, I muted my mic. Sorry.
Well done.
The pull is actually really bad for Diggity in the sense that Tide can actually do this stack, and only the Bat can come down here and do this. So, you look at Cheshire Cat, he's having like a really great game, but it's Revenge Spectre against Tide. Like, what do they really do against him? So, he's actually pretty much even with the Spectre. So, he's having an excellent off lane. And this is a lot more of what TR wanted. They're dominating the safe lane. They're actually doing very well bottom. And once again, J4 is mostly just farming. He'll have Arcane's finished now. The one big problem is just his mid lane. Arcane rune picked up by Batrider. That's so nice for him. That gives him 3 Fireflies when he usually would only have 2.
You always look for heroes like Lion or Witch Doctor. They just, okay, you have to just go for bottom lane. Cheshire Cat's up a fair way with Lasso available. Cheshire Cat doesn't have a TP scroll, and the Firefly will begin. If Kuiper can get away with not using Lasso, he would, because of exactly that moment, as Cheshire Cat just keeps the run going. He's outside the Firefly. He'll survive this rotation. Thank God for Kraken.
2 really big misplays by Kuiper there. He Fire Flew before using the Arcane rune, and he used Lasso without recognizing when the Kraken Shell had last procced. So he needs to wait for that and then use his...
J4 can get this kill. If Cheshire, he doesn't have Gush Avel, Cinderin will go for the stun. Oh, Cheshire Cat, he actually comes back in. Cinderin, he just looks so juicy, you can kill him off. Now it's actually going to cost Cheshire Cat its life, and that rotation is no longer for nothing.
Actually, I kind of prefer the Ice build on Tide, where he traditionally goes 1-2-1. And he puts 1-3-1, and then he gets ulti, but almost always with an early point in Gush, because you just never know when it can lead to a kill.
Qualifier took that stack you said only he could do. The other part of his rotation, but they've left mid lane alone. So Rise is having like the time of his life to catch up again.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
CS wise, crapped on. Look at Weaver's build too. It's interesting to see how goddamn we're doing this. I was always a big fan of the EE Weaver build. Like the early phase boots, and the second someone would appear on the lane, you would basically just back attack, you'd phase under the tower. If you had time lapse, which was you normally would attack, you just take all the damage and fall out of the lane, time lapse off everything you did take, have it at whatever towers you needed to do it. This appears to be a little bit more defensive, and not a surprise when Night Stalker's not even staying in the lane. He's come towards mid, so they get the silence and the void, or at least just the void for now. Lasso dragging Orion back with the 10 army, they got a lot of control. Vignum tries to add in the heal, but it's just not enough. So a good pick off, Orion, all the space that he got won't get much. Qualifier maybe getting a little greedy coming in closer with that Firefly. He'll avoid the arrow from J4. Firefly will wear off, but with that successful kill, he's now 100 gold away from his Blink Dagger. And he'll have a DD rune top as well.
Spectre's not having an amazing game, but it definitely isn't bad. Top lane, Night Stalker's already got phase boosts up, mostly just thanks to that Iron Talon jungling.
Radiant's top tower is under
That
attack.
kill on Tide is actually a huge deal. He also doesn't have any ancient stacks yet. Can take them in about 1 level, so not ideal. And not as involved as I would have hoped, but he gets that 1 kill. I feel like Arise is constantly dying to these last ones mid with the Chen rotations. I think they just need to give him a lane ward middle at this point. It'll be too late because once the stat gets a blink, he'll most likely come at him through a smoke, and they'll do the exact same play they did in the previous 2 games, where they try and kill Arise and then go for this mid tower.
Might have also been a call to Yapsaw, because when Qualifier went far up inside the jungle, Yapsaw tanked up the mid lane. Well, I say tanked, controlled the mid lane. We actually found a lot of experience. Maybe they're just trying to flash farm him up into that mech. He said like PR is going to have like a really nice sweet timing as well. Maybe Diggity's just trying to get a better one. If you can get an early mech, maybe you could survive the initial Tide Ravage. Eris are looking to fight, like he's got himself, like if he wants the phase boots, he could go into it. I think Eris is actually one of the guys that prefers going opposed to phase over on the Spectre. Oh, Ravage. They're going to solo for it. The creep tanked the arrow. They won't have enough damage. The Fortune then will come off, but Hand of God will now also arrive thanks to the Chen getting a very early level 6. Syndra will follow up for the start of the Spectral Dagger on the Oracle. Nighttime will wear off, but Quoifer's in the middle of the fight with a Flaming Lasso pulling J4 back. He won't survive. Vignum's in too deep. And Diggity, that is a huge fight to win. Huge fight to win.
That is 1, why you still gush, and 2, why you make that move with more heroes. You have to assume they're going to protect their Spectre. They have Chen heal. You got to bring Weaver down. You got to bring OD down. Like, one of them needs to be there for that to ensure that the kill happens. And instead, that's like the opposite of what you want to happen, because they don't even use Spectre ulti for that. They get a tower, 2 kills, and this gives them a lot of tempo. Weaver, of course, getting the tower top, but... And
That's the kind of thing which we've seen in game 1 and game 2. Our Rangers having that one moment where they got caught out by Diggity, and Diggity just get a huge injection of money, experience, confidence up against PR.
I like the build by Era too. He goes for the drums here. He's running more of the MVP style Spectre, where you buy a bunch of really cheap build-up items, fight a lot during the early game, and then you kind of just fall back for like the Radiance, and that secures your late game. But Diggity can just continue taking fights, continue forcing towers, and just have Spectre farm. And as long as they don't lose these fights, and Spectre maybe stays alive through 1 or 2 of them, eventually, if he gets a Radiance, they start taking command of the game.
You've got Spectral Haunt, and there's no Ravage for PR. Who do you think is going to win this fight? If they arrow down the creeps again, like, creep wave of Diggity has actually been almost an MVP in this series. Really, because they just keep tanking all these arrows from J4. 10 creeps remain alive. They didn't get that combo arrow. That could have been so much easier as well if Era actually got hit by that arrow on the fight in bottom lane before. Like, we'll be looking at a very different game. We wouldn't have Era with these easy build-up items early on. However, with an Invis rune preparing for mid, yeah, PR are just battling the hell out. Not really achieving much else as they do just back out of the tier 1 tower. Like, goddamn spending time run after him. He's not up on top lane. He's not contesting Era for farm or continuing his own net worth build.
It's once again, if you look at Arise, man, he's actually below the Night Stalker in net worth. That's really grim, very, very grim. And Diggity's doing exactly what they need to. They just continuously push the side lanes, group up, take towers. They understand the strength of their lineup. They're gonna abuse that fact. J4 actually going for, or sorry, Goddamn actually going for drums. Don't agree with that. I don't think you can afford to build like the Vector is. You need to try and get like a Lincoln Deso here. I don't think you can go these items because you're still not going to win fights with them, I don't believe. Maybe they can with Ravage, but we'll see.
Now
Looks
Diggity,
like
how do you even win the next fight when
it's
like Diggity gonna hit the next time he wins bet during the draft effect? It's the second nighttime
Dire's
phase.
top tower has fallen.
Like, you're at least gonna have your
Radiant
drums
structures
for that
are
time.
fortified.
Keizu, oh, he triggers the darkness. The arrow's gonna miss everything as well. So they can't even get control from this.
Fight, though.
Radiant's middle
Are they
tower
ready to
is
go?
under
Everyone's
attack.
moving over. The Scarab Beetles come out first, the negative armor, they get to deal with this one. Spectral Dagger's in pretty deep. No reason to trigger off that Spectral Horn. Cinderin's died so far, but the Tornado from Yamstor's creep is still causing problems. They've got a Hand of God available. They're finally going to imprison up and get rid of the Tornado.
This guy really needs Gush, man. They also still have not stacked Ancients, which is a big no-no. This Tide could be like level 10 if he has an Ancient stack or two. He should have one right now that he can go recover on. And I say recover, I just mean like get ahead, really. It's like the one place where they actually have a big advantage over the Diggity lineup, because Diggity cannot utilize Ancients, much like they couldn't in any of these games, until the Chen has the Ags. So, until then, like, these Ancients are worth like 270 gold on average, and as you can see, no stackage. And they haven't even been warded, you know? Like, they're not paying attention to them on their Diggity at all.
When you're in the mindset of quote for now, like, you got this Blink 4 stuff, it's up so early. Who is your primary target? Do you go on the Tide and try and remove the Ravage, considering your Lasso may not be able to go the whole way through thanks to Kraken? Do you go on a Rise? Because at least he doesn't have anyone that can save him apart from Big Num's stuff, or Goddamn, he's got 9 months. It seems like all 3 targets are really difficult ones for him to initiate on. Like, for all these items you're getting for your mid lane, I'm just wondering how effective they are and what they give to PR.
Yeah.
Unless you start like killing off the supports and you focus Oracle to start with.
This is the problem, is that they have so much save. And this is actually what you're looking for on Batrider. It's cleanse mechanics, heroes that can tank the lasso, and then save for the lasso. So not only they have all of those things, because they have the Astral, they have the Oracle. You can't really go for Tidehunter. If you pull him into your team, he'll just spam click Ravage, and eventually it's gonna go off. And then obviously the Oracle's there to save as well. This is a huge roach. If they can get this big.
A Flame Breaker trying to knock someone off. A Rise was very close to the edge there, but yeah, okay. But the Blink Dagger and the Force Up wouldn't have put it past him to have a crack at it.
Really good move by PR there, though. They get mid tower, they get Roche. That's exactly what they need to do with this lineup. Constantly take objectives. Make sure that if there's going to be a fight, they're on the enemy side of the map. I will say, though, Ira choosing to go for either the Yasha or the Diffusal, so not going Radiant. I really think Radiance might have been the build here, but that's fine. It just means that Diggity don't have this timing where it's like, oh shit, wow, we like can't really fight these guys very well. It means that it's going to be more fluid. So.
There's a sentry here. So they'll see where Goddamn is. Ira's going to reality himself over. Goddamn's just running out. But a Spectre being able to get involved in the quick kill and then back to the farm on bot lane. Cat's coming down. He's almost got no money for his Blink Dagger. They're not looking to fight this, and you asked the question, like, I'm keeping an eye on him this time around, because I kept asking, like, where does Keizu get all of his money from? Notice where PR is right now compared to Keizu. Keeps farming up the top lane, and taking the jungle, pushes into the tier 2 tower, then just disappears off the map. Runs back down to the jungle, Iron Talon farm up, currently sitting, like, that, like, 1200-ish, 1300 gold away from having his Aghanim Scepter. When that vision's up, Titan getting initiation is going to be a lot more difficult. And the Spectre does get it what I think he's trying to do. Like, Ira goes into, and it is actually the Yasha on him. He goes for Amanda style and Diffusal Blade. All it's going to do is Spectral Horn, trigger Manta, Diffusal Charge on Oracle, and Oracle is dead at the start of every fight. Unless he's going to false promise himself, and that's even probably just a bigger win.
The important thing to note here is just Oh man, there's just no mech on Fire right now. I really like when Tides just go mech here. It's one thing if you're playing against the Doom or something, but I don't think Blink is the answer here. He doesn't want to counter-initiate as much as he wants to just like run in front and front line for his team because there's no one else that can do it. And he's instead gonna go for a Blink, it looks like, and it's just risky. It's the same as the Void, you know? You go Blink on Void, you just don't for much, but your ulti, and if you don't get a good ulti off, then your hero becomes way less effective.
Well, you have J4
So
for the mech. J4 is actually 600 gold away from finishing his mech.
I see. The thing is, I'd rather him go for like a Midas or something like that, or just damage because I don't think it's necessary. I mean, it's to each their own. There's a lot of people who subscribe to the Blink Tide method. I'm just not one of those people. And one thing to note, just comment on Keizu, he's been doing a very good job throughout the entire series of just split pushing effectively. He's with his team when they are making moves, and otherwise he's taking farms that other heroes can't. And it's something you really need to do a lot as the offlaner. You will be farming without vision, unsafe, and you just kind of have to hope they don't kill you.
TP's coming
going
in.
top. He's going to get this the Weaver right now.
Qualifiers ready for it. Synderen's hovering around too, but with Cheshire Cat hovering behind him there, well, they got the confidence for it.
Don't know if they saw the blink, but this would be an example of where the blink could come in really handy. But again, this is so good for DiG just because they're able to split the map so effectively.
Got out warning. Area doesn't spectral dagger. No, I've just seen the two heroes up on top. Like maybe you'd feel confident just to farm.
But yeah, I agree. They probably could have got away with it. And this is the issue right now for PR, where Diggity have better map control just because of the Spectre. The Spectre can just farm bottom. That's all he's doing, and you're constantly afraid of the Bat, of the Night Stalker, where are they moving, and it's very easy to get out farmed just because of the way these lineups interact.
Chen just lost his entire army on the mid lane. 3 big creeps to try and start the push, but there's 3 heroes from PR waiting for it. Really are just holding this game up. But how long have you got left? Like, that Aegis Immortal's still in their hands for another 1 minute. PR are going to do anything with this Aegis on the OD. Gonna have to push something now, and they're coming for the tier 2 top.
Drums, Weaver, Blink, Tide, Mech, Mirana, they're not itemizing for the late game, they're itemizing for right now. So they kind of need to, as you say, like, they got to get something done here.
They're gonna get the tier 2 tower. Diggity won't stop them on this one. The map's for the fortification. We're still looking at another now 30 seconds left on that Aegis. We get 18:30, then that Aegis should be gone.
It's just taking too long. They're losing the game slowly every moment that goes by without any action. They need to have 2 tier 2s with this Aegis, not just the one. And they can't really force high ground effectively because of that. But Oracle, if he's quick, he can immediately ult the lasso target and render them invisible.
5 heroes there. Cheshire Cat's even taunting Diggity to come and fight back. Goddamn, there it is. False promise stops the last 2 out. Well as the OD imprisonment, they used both on Goddamn. Diggity don't.
The problem is,
go on.
If they just use the one, they're fine. But now they use both, and now they just kind of have to back. They still, the Aegis faded, but again, like, you need to fight if you're PR. I think. I really don't think you can afford to continue stagnating in this game. Tide still hasn't done anything, man. Triggering me.
Well, he's had no one to also stack for him. J4 spent most of his time roaming around with the rest of the team.
That's what I mean. Like, if you're gonna pick a Mirana, like, you gotta get more things done. Like, I don't feel like he's 1-1 in launch, so he's been a part of both skills, but still not many. He hasn't stacked, and he didn't really accelerate that far. Like, he's pretty much just kind of counter jungled against the Chen. I just feel like until maybe 30-40 minutes into the game, Chen's so much more valuable.
I think Goddamn is dead. You got a full Aghanims over on Keizu, so they instantly assault into the dire jungle, and the rest of PR's moving up for him. The observer ward they had down, they were hoping he was actually moving the other way. Synderen's out of range for the swap, so he can't reach Big Time. He came very close to J4 for a moment.
Oh my gosh, he's going Ags on Tide, alright. Oh, this is the Brax build, the Blink Ags, and I hope Brax isn't listening, because then maybe he would think of something else. But this is really just not the way you build Tide, in my opinion. I just don't like it at all. The hero is so good. You itemize to get tanky, you build a refresher later on. You go this Blink Ags build, not only do you farm slower, not only are you not as tanky, but you're just all in on hitting a huge Ravage and a bunch of Gushes, and you don't really have that much physical... I guess it synergizes with the Weaver, to be fair, but I'm still just not a fan of it.
Well, if it succeeds,
What PR is forced to do now. This is the timing for Diggity. They have the Ags online. They have massive map control. However, if they don't get fights, if they don't take control of the game by like 35-40 minutes, suddenly PR's lineup just is nigh unkillable, and there's not enough damage output through just the Spectre in the game. So I think they're about to get the Manta. Yep, here it comes.
Yep.
So they have the Manta, they have the Ags. This is their timing where Diggity is in a powerful position. So this would be, I think, when they have to get something done.
that hatred on that Chen army. There's only the Ogre Frost
really
Mage that's left over, but Qualifier still taking the tier 2 tower up on top lane. And Era continues, like, again, like when PR are forcing, like when they're forcing the tier 2 tower up on top lane, Era's just farming up bot lane. It was always one of the greatest strengths of the Spectre, is the fact that you can be anywhere on the map, and you can always be involved in the fight wherever it's going to be. Thanks to just the Horn. So you never have to have any downtime in farming before the fight begins. It's the same thing for Qualifier. Like, he took out that top tier 2 tower, instantly goes to farm up inside the Dire jungle. Overlord's everywhere, so he feels so secure. Era is the one who shouldn't be feeling secure at all. Especially knowing that Roshan could be up in just a moment, and he does spawn in about a minute.
If we go back to, you know, Revolutionary War fighting style, like both teams assemble in a line and start shooting each other, PR is going to win 9 times out of 10, and that's something we have to keep in mind, because while Diggity has map control, they have the ability to take better fights very easily. PR will always win straight up engagements, always.
I'm gonna go with your analogy there, man, and add a new level to it. In that kind of stuff, you also have fog of war. And that's where PR, like, even if you do stand against each other, because their visions can be so restricted by darkness, they may not see who they're trying to shoot at.
It doesn't really matter, because there's no AoE. So, like, if I'm captaining here, I'm just telling my team, like, look, this is a grim game, but one, clump together, Death Blitz damage won't occur, and there's no AoE other than the Firefly. So there's just no reason to be afraid. They can just stay as a core 5. Whoever gets lassoed, you immediately save, and, like, until Tide ravages, they have to run away. And another reason I don't like the blink on Tide is because you're playing against Spectre. I think if he just goes to be tanky and buys a Force Staff, he can always get a good ravage off, but his blink will be cancelled continuously. Diggity pretty much, like, if they don't kill Tide pre-ravage, they can't really win a fight. As crazy as that sounds, but it just comes down to Diggity need to farm 65% of the map every minute, minimum. They need to get a couple good fights while they're still in this advantageous timing, and they have to use every night time to take objectives, pressure the map. And if you look at the gold, it's close to what they've been doing. They're up to like 3,500 gold lead after a very stagnant past 5 minutes or so. Their XP lead has also jumped up considerably, so they're doing what they need to do. But it's still, even though they're getting further ahead, they're just keeping the game even, if that makes sense.
Oh, they're going to Spectral Horn. Who they found? It's up on top lane. They found the OG. There's no other help around him. The other illusion's just hunting everybody else, but that's going to be Synderen to get the kill. That OD. And with him down, Einstalk can notice that Roshan's up. I don't know if really Diggity have enough damage to do Roshan quickly. If they can get another kill like this one on bottom lane, that would work. You got the Agams and Gem over on Kaizu. The Qualifier just needs the blink. Lasso gets a void off. They've got a couple with the silence perfectly, but he's got Manta already on the Weaver, so you can't perfectly couple that silence.
I really don't like Arise's build here. He went for a Veil.
He did the same thing in the last game.
And then he actually lived there. He went Blink first in the previous game, and I think that made a lot of sense. Blink on OD is the broken part of his hero. So you just Astro yourself, and you blink out of everything. I've seen people blink out of Ice Path. It is really stupid, and he would live there if he had one. The Veil also doesn't synergize with his team. Where's this magic damage coming from?
They're chasing, they're going up to Synderen. He just does TP. The only thing they've got, okay, it's going to be imprisonment. There's just no way you're going to burn your Ravage for that. So Synderen will come back out of it. He'll go down to the Starfall.
And they run straight to Roche, and that's actually a really big death, Synderen. He's played quite well this game, but you can't get caught there because it's literally just a free Roche you give the other team.
You can move the rest of Diggity to top lane though. Like, you want to go for Roshan, that tier 3 tower is going to take considerable damage. There's a catapult behind this wave as well. They got to be quick about it. I suppose you got no D, so you're going to be very bloody quick. This tower's still going to drop below half its life. Unless they're going to, but there's no fortification either. So they'll lose half life on the tier 3 tower to grab a Roshan.
Roshan has fallen to die.
So, relatively even game. Again, if you look at Arise's net worth, I mean, he's 5th right now. If he can get up to 2nd, we can assume PR will win. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but it just seemed to me being Arise is a pretty good metric for how the game's going for PR. Diggity's still in a good position. Nighttime is faded. It's up in 20 seconds through the KZ darkness, but just have to make sure they continue to exercise map control and they don't lose the game pretty much off the stages, which is quite possible. The team fight of PR is still incredibly strong.
How do you exercise map
BKB
control
on that rider.
that you're getting split pushed so hard? And you're coming down the mid lane right now without a Weaver. Like, the Spectre's been pushing out the top lane, and then we're just haunting on TP back. Qualifier has been working overtime on that bot lane. Every time he can do it, he beat team down there. Goodbye, Yapsor. Really nice knowing you, man. Wow, Cheshire. And it's bro.
I think you just go push if you're PR right now. It's not negligible that the OD suddenly has 30 extra intelligence. It allows them to hard initiate and potentially just immediately kill 2 heroes off a Ravage OD combo. They can then back immediately and bait the buyback, which would give them a really good foothold in this game. Atwell once again takes the bottom tower. Qualifier doing a great job of using these bots to exercise map control. Him and Ira have done a great job. Diffusal picked up on Ira. It's going to be very important that heroes stay together so that they can help. Ira jumping on a target will kill it immediately.
Hold on to
They're
the
going to
top
top
for now.
the weak tower.
Not a lot of life on it. They already burned the fortification. Pointless here. Flame break. They're trying to push everybody back for the moment. And then blink forward. Arise is going to get last two, but false promise. Already going to be triggered very, very early on this fight. Goddamn, also silence. He's got his Manta, so he's okay with this. The wave of terrors keep hitting from Cinder, and they got low armor. Even the courier in a very odd spot. Hot fist J4 inside the base. The Ravage will pop. Crocus City get feel protected, but everyone else going to get hit by this. With the Spectre, he's everywhere in this fight. And where do you find him? Goddamn's losing all this mana. He was underneath the sentry ward. He couldn't Chikuchi himself away. Arise will drop, and this is PR. They were worried about pushing it a little bit too hard, too early. Then who do you go on? Like, you want to be killing off Arise right now, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing. They want both, with the flame breaks, they're going to get it. Cheshire Cast TP gets cancelled. Qualifier hot on the tail of this Tide Hunter, and Fire is definitely going to be steaming up the watery tide. 12 for 5, they keep their top ranks intact. And Diggity. Oh, okay.
It's just not. That's just a huge mistake from PR. They actually didn't even... The Deso was coming on the courier. It was given to Weaver just as he died. They initiate with Ravage, but it literally catches the support because that got his BKB off. And the OD ult missed. OD ult hit nothing. So, yeah. They just don't... You just don't initiate there. You have so many items on the way. You've used your Oracle ult. Used Weaver ult. You got the tower. You just back there. Aegis isn't as important. It just... That was a really big misplay. That was a huge fight. It all starts with the Tide Ravage, though. That's just, again, not how you tide, in my opinion, but it's happened.
Oh, because of it. PR now
OD also had a pity on the courier that it didn't show up.
Oh boy.
Like, yeah, it's just understanding your timings. Like you saw last game, PR did a really good job. They bought all their items, they got Aegis, they ran up. That fight was kind of bad, it was in the enemy base, but it doesn't matter because they're so far ahead. And they don't have that luxury right now.
Era's going to get fatter and fatter too. Like, you get the Ags over on the Chen, so your push is going to be a pain in the ass. Hello for the Ags at 29 minutes on Cheshire Cat. Just the fact that the Spectre is now well on his way, getting that Skadi up and running. Even if he gets hit by the Ravage, he's still going to tank through so much, and his illusion is going to be really difficult for PR to deal with.
I just, once again, like I know I'm beating into this, but you have an Ags that's 300 gold away on your Tide, you have a BKB in base, Weaver doesn't have the Death Cell yet, and your move is to immediately go in Ravage ODLT. It's just, they wait for those items, it might be a completely different story, but instead, get outmatched.
They weren't even on the clock for the Aegis. Like, the Aegis had another 30 seconds before it was going to time out. That's from now, I said. Not even from that fight.
It's just classic.
I was waiting to see if he's going to go for a solo kill over on Cinder, and it's going to happen though.
Classic, just go to being hard, man, because you're trying to weigh a bunch of variables, and you don't really understand in the moment what's more important, the Aegis or these 2 items? What about these 3 items? What about just 1? And they overvalued the Aegis, just wanting to fight with it, and ended up putting themselves in a bit of a hole. Now the advantage goes from like 4K, which in truth makes the game relatively even, to something like 10K. 14,000 experience advantage, and now you're starting to get really scary. He's going to go for the Scotty next item, and he just kills the Weaver so easily if he gets jumped.
On a side note, because as you're saying this, like you say, like if like obviously we can see everything of what's going on, so it's a lot harder to decide in the moment, especially when you're trying to multitask everything you're doing as a player. Just as a complete side topic, I know you love these. Do you actually believe it's worthwhile to have like coaches inside boxes at LAN events, or have the ability for coaches to actually have an impact during online games, to have someone have a more wider perspective of the game, and being on comms with the players?
There's nothing that prevents you from using a coach in online events. In fact, there's
Correct.
nothing that would prevent you from just like literally throwing the game on a second monitor and just feeding. But there's, you know, a code of honor.
We have stream delay for a little bit of that.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I mean, to answer the question, yes, coaches are a huge advantage, and if they were allowed in the booth, I think we would see many more teams with coaches. Just for nothing else, like cooldown management. When will Roche spawn? When is OD ult up? When is Ravage up? And just having someone saying Ravage in 30, Ravage in 10, like constantly spawn in 30. You know, just constantly giving information would be a huge advantage.
Wow, Era? Really? I know you're gonna TP out anyway, but throwing the Spectral Dagger from inside the trees where he's fairly close to PR, running the risk of death, but gets away with it. And I'd just love to see it, because I see the influence it has, like when you watch the CS games, and you've always got that coach walking behind with the headset on, and he's just like he's giving perspective to everything. I'd love to see just how far to a next level Dota could be taken with that kind of
We're about to have a big fight here.
Yeah.
They're gonna pop darkness as they go in.
Are they ready? Yeah, you got Spectral Haunt. Like, Era's just pushing in the mid lane at the moment, but he's ready to go. Pointer's hanging in the tree lines. Firefly just came off cooldown. He jumps up, he goes for Goddamn. He'll actually get the lasso off with the Wave of Terror, but they've actually used both Imprisonment and as well as Fortune's End over on Goddamn to try and protect him. He just gets locked down. He'll time-lapse as well, and pops almost instantly after it. The Ravage comes out from Cheshire Cat. Another Imprisonment, allowing Diggity time to actually reposition. As they got Flame Break, they got Swap. J4 won't get away from this one. It's a terrible fight right now for Power Rangers. They're going to lose everything again. Cheshire Cat slowed up, and this is the dream now for Diggity. 5 heroes down and a license to push.
It's like the same draft, but this time they have the Spectre instead of the CK. So much better as a hero. They're going to have him finish the Scotty pretty soon, and again, this really just all comes down to the hole that they're in. Look at Horizon's net worth. He's like almost half of that rider right now. It's crazy. And you saw there, the Oracle actually ulted an illusion because they once again astraled the lasso target, and then they still tried to spam the OD ulti. So they just have to communicate better. And in addition, Hyde's Ravage comes out, but there's a BKB on the Bat, a BKB on the Night Stalker, so they just ignore it.
They're gonna kill off Big Num.
Tanky.
There's no way to even fight that. Cheshire Cat's got no saving grace. And the one who really is doing the saving, which is the Oracle, is now down for 40 seconds with no buyback. They bring the Chen army over. Goddamn's going to arrive. The lasso is on cooldown. So is Shiva's guard, so PR will be free to walk themselves outside the base and attack into Era. A lot of negative armor when you put that Gush as well as Desolate to work. But your tier 3 towers taking damage on mid, bottom. There isn't even one on the top lane. Diggity will do the wise thing. They back up and they'll wait for the next opportunity. Roshan, they still have another 2 minutes to wait. Okay, the full Scotty is done on Era.
Shiva's on the Bat Rider, and he still has 3,000 gold. Like, Corp is just retarded farm right now.
I don't know what his next item is. Like, do you go for, like, I'm thinking Refresh Orb is something he normally goes for at this point in the game. You got double Lassos, double BKBs, double Shivas. Aaron's gone for his Paintant. It's the Treads, only Bracer, no drums, Wand, into Aghanim Scepter. 2 VSs as well in these next fights. I don't think he's even going to care if he gets hit by Ravage.
And that's like the strength of their team. Chen's not going to be getting ravaged, and if he is, he's tanky enough to not care. You got 2 BKBs, and Era just doesn't give a damn. Like, at this point, you almost need to Ravage on his Haunt, just to prevent the illusion damage, and that's just the strength of this Diggity lineup. Like, Again, it all just comes back to Arise, man. He's got a Veil, no drum charges left in the BKB, and we're nearly 40 minutes into the game. Tied as well, completely ineffective. Have yet to do Ancients that I've seen. Not how you run this style.
PR's on the way. They're going to 5-man, try and go for a gank, but the ping just came out from Diggity saying this creep wave is inside the Dire base and not being contested. Obviously, PR are on the hump. They're coming for Roshan. It's not up. Fortunately for PR, they would have loved to have quickly taken that one. bo5 also doesn't have Firefly at the moment, so they might be able to catch him up as he's trying to farm from inside the trees, but he blinks away, breaks one of them, the arrow is well off target, and they're still just lost the range racks to a catapult. Party right now is the strongest, the lane push, and there's nothing PR can do to stop it without going all the way home. Even the mid lane, the Chen army has arrived. They actually lose the second tier 3 tower as well for this failed smoke. Actually lose, nope. Yeah, but the big one was pretty close. They lose Roshan. They lose. I think J4 helped him. I think he just arrowed Roshan and gave him a 5-second stun help. But then Moonlight Shadow, PR's in the way. Cheshire Cat's already used his blink to get down close enough to gush. In 3, 2, 1, he can blink Ravage, Qualifier. Where's that BKB? He lashes on the right. Dragon out of the fight with a Spectral Horn. Again, they're all over PR. Roshan's down, the Aegis Balls in the hand of Era. But is there going to be anyone left alive? Yep, here they come. They go out. Goddamn, Tylem's out the damage. Synderen is still alive here. But then Aegis, his Aghanim Scepter will let him fight even harder. J4 is running away from KZ, but Void's back off cooldown, so he'll pick up that kill. Big Num's got nowhere to run apart from death. And there's just really no effect from this PR team fight. You've still got the cheese sitting inside the base for somebody to take. Yamsel's going to pick that one up, and they'll come for a GG push now.
In theory, the Oracle pick is always so much better than it is in practice. In that fight, they actually go on a Rise. No astral overlaps to worry about, but the Oracle actually ults the Tidehunter instead of the OD. So the OD just dies at the start of the fight, and then Oracle is kind of not a hero anymore. That might be the GG, honestly. Diggity just played so much better in this game than PR did. Like 22-6. It was relatively low action, but Diggity played the game exactly as it needed to be played to win.
Synderen's illusion right now is actually causing more problems on top lane. Don't care about it, he was respawning in 1 second time.
Again, no, just to comment again, like KZu's no depth this game, Era no depth, Qualifier no depth. I think specifically Qualifier and KZu have been playing very well in this series. Specifically Qualifier, to be honest. Every game he's forced onto a role that I've said he might not be incredibly comfortable with, but he's done the playmaking for his team very effectively.
He really is one of those
every
standout
game
players. You actually want to put one of those like breaking into new ground kind of players. Like KZu is kind of one of those people. I'm interested to see how he develops over time though. We've had some highlight players that really have like stood out. Like you look at like the Excalibur hype that came from him. Everyone's like, oh man, this guy is such a great player. He's got such great reflexes and timing. And then the maturity and decision making became like the biggest criticism of his play. And KZu is kind of like, he's a guy that knows how to function with a team. He's almost like one of the biggest. Very different approach. Qualifier, last two onto a Rise. Dragon back out. He gets his BKB off, but now Qualifier comes back in with his own BKB. They're keeping Cheshire Cat out of the fight, and they blink in for a secondary lasso as well as BKB. Arise will be going down. He waited as long as he could on that Ravage from Cheshire Cat, but you can wait forever. Diggity, they'll wait with you. Goddamn, can't even time us out. The control was perfect, and this is game. GG, well played. Team No Diggity will be the final team to advance themselves through to the land fast we played in Moscow. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. $500,000 is how much every team will be playing for, and they've secured themselves the 4th and final qualifier slot.
Really well played. And it's a great land to make it to as well. Massive prize pool. In addition, the organizers have been at like every land so far this season. Great guys. They put a lot of work into the event thus far. It looks fantastic, and I can't think of a better place for Diggity to have their first time on the international stage.